Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Katherine Kelly. I'm a holistic health psychologist and soul healing specialist. And I'm going to talk to you today about how the soul is related to overall well being. So here we are as a weary soul. All of us have had these times when we have been exhausted and worn out. And so we don't feel very well when the human condition is getting us, but sometimes the soul condition also has an effect on how we feel. So, what we want is to feel like a vibrant soul. We want to feel full and rich and aligned. And yet, how is it that we get from the weary soul to the very full and enriched soul? So, this is what we're going to talk about today. So, what is health? A lot of people think about health as a lack of disease, a lack of dis-ease, and most commonly people think of it in terms of physical health. So, the absence of aches, pains, illnesses, those kinds of things. And for those who work in the medical field or work in the mental health field, a lot of times they talk about the biopsychosocial spiritual field. Field of experience. And really, what I want to help you understand is that it goes far beyond that. So to me, what is soul health? There's a very big difference between physical health and soul health. And I use this acronym to help people understand this. So if you walk through these letters with me, so seeking our unlimited light, healing every aspect of life through harmony of body, mind, and soul. So when I think about this, I think about the fact that we have to clean out those darknesses, those wounds, those things that are basically getting in the way of us feeling light. And so it's that seeking that unlimited light within us. But the only way that we can do that is to clean out and then fill up. And so I'm going to walk you through this whole process. There are other wellness models out there. The National Wellness Institute's model that was created in 1976 is the first wellness model that I was exposed to and made aware of. And at first, they only had 5 components. So it was physical, psychological, social, environmental, and intellectual. And then later they went on to add the spiritual. And I was learning about this model when I was in my early graduate school days. And it was really beautiful because I was learning about wellness at the same time that I was learning about sickness in terms of the medical model of mental health. And so, what I started to realize as I was learning to work with people and expanding my own awareness of the human condition, I realized that there were 4 components that were missing. And I added these. So, the financial, the sexual, the interpersonal, and recreational. And the reason I put recreational a little bit lower is that later I realized I had to include recreational health. But no other wellness model has this comprehensive of a system. And when we think about financial wellness, boy, if we are not financially well, it throws off everything. If we are not feeling sexually well, if we've had some sort of sexual trauma, it throws everything off. If interpersonally, if the dynamics between us and the other people in our lives or other animals or other situations in our life are off, we don't feel well. And certainly we don't feel well if we are lacking in recreation, which to me is fun or leisure. So this is my soul health model. This is basically the wellness model I created to help people understand how the soul is so connected to every single aspect of the human condition. So you look at this image, and if you were just to imagine one of these branches being wounded or broken or struck by lightning, you would immediately realize that the rest of the tree would get out of balance. And so the essence of who we are, and I'm going to use the cursor to show these hands here, the essence of who we are that sustains us, that works us through every aspect of the human condition. We have to take care of the soul just as much as we take care of the human, but a lot of people don't know that we need to do that. So, with the soul health model, you look at this from a whole health approach. You can't just look at one branch, you will not heal the tree. Each and every one of those branches is interrelated. It's a very individualized model. So in other words, my tree might look different than someone else's because of what I need versus what someone else needs or wants in their life. And then the trunk represents the sense of the self or the sense of the soul. So we need a sturdy or solid trunk to maintain the tree. So our soul needs to be healthy. It needs to be vibrant and have that essence to it that feels strong. Self-awareness goes a long way in terms of understanding why we need certain things in our branch and how one another affects each other. And I also talk about the age of the soul, or the sense of self, that has a lot to do with how we manage our human condition in general. Now, that's a whole nother topic that we'll talk about another day. But I also love quotes. And so I love this quote by Henry David Thoreau. Good for the body is the work of the body, good for the soul, the work of the soul, and good for either is the work of the other. And I think it's really important to realize that the human condition is so interactive with the soul and vice versa. And the state of the soul is very much reflected in how our human condition looks. So I'm going to go through these branches a little bit more just to help you understand that we have to keep in mind that how well we grow has a lot to do with how our branches look. So if our branches are unbalanced, we are going to not feel well. And how peaceful and well do you feel when those are unbalanced? How healthy do you feel overall if one branch is damaged or unbalanced? So we realize that that is a very interactive model and that it all comes back to what I call whole person health. And I think it's important to keep remembering this. Now, these are all of the aspects of what we consider to be physical health. But what I want to bring up is the fact that we have lots of other aspects that go with it. It's not just the physical condition. So it's the psychological condition. It is the social condition. It's the warm bodies that we have in our lives. It's the interpersonal branch. So we have all of these different aspects of who we are that play a huge role. The intellectual occupational branch. So how we feel from an intellectual perspective and occupational. And environmental, how our environment impacts who we are. And we have so many things we have to think about as, tidiness and clutter and toxicity and all these things that we're starting to become more aware of these days. The financial branch, how well do we feel if something within our finances is off? We don't feel very well, and that's the whole point. The spiritual branch. Now, the soul health model is inherently spiritual because of the interweaving of the soul. But we also have to pay attention to our inner self. We have to take care of that sense of peace within us. And so there's another aspect that we have to attend to make sure that our souls are healthy. And it sounds ironic that we have to spend time in spiritual health to keep a healthy soul, but we do. It's all aspects of the human condition. The sexual branch, this is a branch that is never talked about in other wellness models. It's tucked under the physical branch if it's ever talked about. And we have to remember that if we have had any sexual trauma in our life, it hits us deeper. It hits us at the core. It hits us at the soul level more than any other kind of trauma. Recreational, we have to think about the fact that, we need fun and leisure in order to bring ourselves to life. We need to balance out the heaviness of the human condition. And if we don't do that, we don't feel well. So there's another aspect of health that we need to pay attention to. So when I think about soul health, I think about whole health. I think about every one of these branches being in balance and being vibrant and being taken care of. And the intentionality behind us in taking care of that is something that we need to know in order to take ourselves forward. So we have to connect the dots. How does each branch affect the other? How does the health of each branch affect the soul? So we have to think about if something within the human condition is not healthy, it is going to be affecting the soul, and the soul is not going to feel well. Sometimes the soul tries to get our attention to take care of those branches. We have to think about the interactive nature of the soul as well. So soul health goes beyond basic wellness. It goes beyond that concept of just the biopsychosocial model. It awakens your consciousness. It takes you to this next level of awareness that, wow, there is something bigger and deeper going on. It also instills a return to inner peace. So that soul health really takes us to that place within us. And I always say that the most natural state of the soul is joy and contentment. So that inner peace is part of rebuilding that overall sense of wellness. The soul also acts as your GPS system. So it kind of tries to direct you down the path of taking care of yourself. It nudges you. It takes care of you. It basically gives you the information you need. We just need to learn to listen to it. And it also provides the daily essential blueprint for radiant living. And I use the word radiant living to explain how we feel when we have that soul health, when we are in that place of feeling soul health. So this is my mission. My mission is absolutely bringing the soul back. And to understand a person fully, you must understand the layers of healing with the whole person health. You must understand all of the aspects of the human condition. And any practitioner, coach, educator, administrator can enhance enhance their ability to work with people by understanding this health model and by understanding the levels of healing in general. So for more information, go to www.Dr.KatherineT.Kelly.com. If you're interested in learning more and becoming a soul health specialist yourself, I am launching certifications for everybody, practitioners, coaches, administrators, educators, to become more aware of the soul and learn how to integrate spirituality and the soul into your work. So you can go to my website, go to the Soul Health Scholars page, and add your name. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. And better yet, join my certification programs. Bye-bye.